Grandma's Magical Delivery. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a grandmother who had difficulty moving around. She spent her days happily tending to her garden, but it was very challenging for her to go out and enjoy delicious food. One day, the grandmother found herself missing the meals from a little restaurant she used to visit with her husband. Then, she heard news about a new delivery app that has come to the village. However, the grandmother was afraid to use the app because she wasn't very good with smartphone. She fell into deep thought, wondering, how can I enjoy tasty food at home? Just then, a small fairy living in a garden appeared. The fairy read the grandmother's mind and said, "Grandma, I'll help you. Let's try using the delivery app together." The fairy taught the grandmother how to use her smartphone. They began ordering food together. At first, it felt a bit awkward, but with the fairy help, the grandmother gradually became more comfortable. Every evening, she received delicious food delivered to her home and enjoyed talking with the fairy. However, one day, the grandmother became worried that the fairy might disappear. The fairy, hearing her concern, smiled and said, "Grandma, I'm not going anywhere. I've helped you learn to order food by yourself." Reassured by the fairy's words, the grandmother became capable of ordering delivery on her own. From then on, she continued to receive tasty meals every day, sharing them with her friends and enjoying happy moments in her garden. Other seniors in the village, hearing the grandmother's story, also started using the delivery app. Now they could enjoy delicious food without having to go out. Thanks to the special bond with the fairy, the grandmother was no longer alone, and she helped all the seniors in the village enjoy happy meals together. And they all spent joyful times together. Grandpa's Cafe Kiosk Adventure. Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there lived a grandpa. He enjoyed going to the cafe every morning to drink fresh coffee. But recently, a kiosk had appeared in the cafe, and Grandpa found it too complicated to use. "Hello, Grandpa. Do you need some help?" Grandpa sighed with relief and replied, "Oh yes, this kiosk seems too hard for me." The employee smiled and began to explain. "Don't worry. First, touch the screen to choose your drink. Once you select what you want, you can move on to the next step." Following the employee's instructions, Grandpa touched the kiosk. "Choose your coffees and select the size." Although he felt a bit nervous, his employee's kind guidance helped him gain confidence. "You're doing great. Now it's time to pay. Just tap your card here." Grandpa slowly tapped his card, and when the screen showed the successfully message, he exclaimed, "Wow, I did it." The employee encouraged him, saying, "Now you can pick up your drink at the counter. Next time you'll be able to do it all by yourself." Grandpa thanked him, saying, "Thank you so much. I think visiting the cafe will be even more enjoyable now." From that day on, Grandpa mastered the kiosk and shared his experience with other customers. Seeing Grandpa use the kiosk encouraged other seniors to try it too. Now, Grandpa confidently used the kiosk on his own whenever he visited the cafe, enjoying his delicious coffee, and thanks to the cafe employee, Grandpa overcame his fear of new technology, inspiring courage in the village. The small interest you show can be a great strength to seniors, and with a bit of courage, seniors can take on new challenge. Don't hesitate to give it a try.
clapping with my grandmother. The grandmother was heading to the hospital after catching a cold due to the rapidly changing temperatures. She had planned to go to the hospital counter and register as usual. But when she arrived, she found out that she couldn't receive treatment without making an appointment through the app. Shocked, the grandmother ended up going home without seeing the doctor. When she came home earlier than expected, her granddaughter asked, "Why are you back so soon?" The hospital said I couldn't see the doctor unless I made an appointment through the app. So I just came back, the grandmother explained. "Really, don't worry, I'll take care of it for you," the granddaughter replied. "It's easy, let me show you, Grandma." Then that the grandmother realized for the first time that her granddaughter also had the app. The app turned out to be easier to use than she had thought, and the granddaughter quickly helped her make the appointment. She explained how the app worked, including how to register, set up subscriptions, and make reservations. After installing the app, the granddaughter immediately helped the grandmother with her first reservation. But over time, the grandmother learned to use the app on her own. Not only could she now make appointments, but she also used the app to find nearby pharmacies and even take part in the community features. Menu for everyone. The grandfather who got off the bus was heading somewhere. It was a famous restaurant he had seen on TV. From the way he looked, it seemed like the journey had been taught. There were so many foreign languages around that he couldn't tell if the people were foreigners or Koreans. So he asked a passerby for directions, and fortunately he arrived. However, he soon faced the second challenge. The menu was in English, and since the grandfather couldn't speak English, he became anxious. As he looked around, he saw young people ordering without any trouble, as if it was second nature. Feeling discouraged, the grandfather left his seat. The restaurant owner noticed this and thought, "You're here again, why do elderly customers just sit and leave?" The owner didn't understand the problem and simply complained about it. A few days later, the owner's grandmother came into the restaurant with a frustrated look and explained what had happened. Upon hearing the story, the owner felt as though he had been struck by something. The grandmother had wanted to drink coffee at the cafe, but she left because the menu was entirely in English. Realizing that older customers were sitting down and leaving without ordering, the owner thought about what he could do to make things easier for them. The owner then decided to create a menu with larger fonts, clear explanations, and a layout that would be easier for older customers to read. A few days later, the restaurant was filled with people all of ages, enjoying their meals.